This is complicating a lot of things, and this goes beyond the disagreements between Manchin and Democratic leadership. I'll explain. Our federal government is running out of The federal government is on target to run out of money by mid-October. The Treasury Department issued a warning, and the White House issued a warning as well. The Progressive Democrats, they're going to be introducing new legislation this week to give eviction protection for 60 days. It's called the Keeping Renters Safe Act of 2021. The southern border crisis is getting worse. Border Patrol agents are riding around on horseback whipping the Haitians. Border Patrol says they aren't whipping the Haitians with whips. They said that they're whipping them with horse. This is your Tuesday news, and I hope you're having a very nice day. For the $3.5 trillion spending bill, there's some serious problems. All 50 Democrats in the Senate, they need to vote yes to the bill. Otherwise, the Democrats, they're not going to have enough votes to get the bill. Democratic senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are saying that they're going to vote no to the bill because it's too expensive. Senator Joe Manchin said Congress should take a strategic pause on the $3.5 trillion bill until next year in 2022. Manchin says that he has deep concerns with specific elements of the package, and he's willing to spend the maximum of $1.5 trillion. Manchin says that his primary concern is inflation. When September started, the plan was to finish writing the bill by September 15th, which didn't happen, and then vote on the bill by Monday, September 27th, which now seems very unlikely. The situation is even more complicated because the groups within the Democratic Party are making their own. The Senate, they voted on and approved the $1.2 trillion physical infrastructure bill, and then it got sent to the House of Representatives. The House is just sitting on the physical infrastructure bill. They are not bringing it up for a vote. In the House of Representatives, the moderate Democrats are saying if the physical infrastructure bill is not voted on by September 27th, then they're going to vote no to the human infrastructure bill. The Progressive Democrats are saying that they want to pass both bills at the same time. They said that they're going to vote no to the physical infrastructure bill if it's voted on separately. Ultimately, the Democrats, they need to convince Senator Joe Manchin to vote yes to the $3.5 trillion bill by Monday, September 27th. However, Manchin is saying that he's going to spend the maximum of $1.5 trillion, and he wants to wait until next year. Our federal government is running out of money. The federal government is on target to run out of money by mid-October. The Treasury Department said they're taking extraordinary measures to conserve cash, but the money is going to run out sometime in October. The politicians, they need to increase the debt ceiling and pass a government funding bill soon. Otherwise, the federal government is going to shut down. The White House issued a warning that if the federal government shuts down, the states would lose their Medicaid funding because the federal government pays for 2/3 of that. Food stamps or SNAP benefits would lose funding. Disaster relief programs would no longer get funding. Schools would not receive their federal funding, and the majority of federal employees will be told to not come into work. And our country would be at risk of not being able to pay our debts on. The Democratic politicians, they can raise the debt ceiling without the Republicans. They have enough votes to do so. But the Democrats are saying that they want to raise the debt ceiling with the support of the Republicans. But the Republicans are saying not a single Republican will vote for it because they don't want to give the Democrats more money to spend and make the inflation situation. The Democrats are saying that they're not going to raise the debt ceiling without the Republicans. In political news, in the upcoming $3.5 trillion human infrastructure bill, the Democrats, they tried to give citizenship to 8 million undocumented immigrants. This was rejected by the Senate parliamentarian. So the question is, how is the Senate parliamentarian involved? So here's how it works. There's 50 Democrats in the Senate and there's 50 Republicans in the Senate. The Democrats, they control the Senate because the vice president is the tiebreaker. So normally, to pass a bill in the Senate, you need 60 votes. But the Democrats are using reconciliation, which is a special process that allows this to pass a bill with 50 votes instead of the usual 60. But if you're going to use reconciliation, you need to follow the reconciliation rules, so you need authorization from the Senate parliamentarian. The Democrats tried to give citizenship to 8 million undocumented immigrants in the bill, but the parliamentarian said that provision falls outside the scope of a reconciliation bill, so it's not allowed to be. The vice president is allowed to challenge the parliamentarian's ruling, but it doesn't look like VP Kamala Harris is going to do so. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar said, this ruling by the parliamentarian is only a recommendation. Senator Schumer and the White House, they can and should ignore it. We can't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do the right. The Progressive Democrats, they're going to introduce new legislation this week to give eviction protection for 60 days. This bill, it's being sponsored by Congresswoman Cori Bush and Senator Elizabeth Warren. It's called the Keeping Renters Safe Act of 2021. They're going to use Section 361 of the Public Health Service Act to allow the Health and Human Services and the CDC to authorize a new eviction moratorium. They're basically going to try to use the same reasoning. Evictions need to stop in order to slow the spread of, but they're going to use different parts of the law to make their case. Senator Warren said, "Isn't over, and we got to do everything we can to protect renters from the harm and trauma of needless eviction. Pushing hundreds of thousands of people out of their homes will only exacerbate this public health crisis." In international news, the big international story right now is still Evergrande in China. They have $300 billion of debt that they cannot pay back. They were supposed to pay interest to banks on Monday, but they didn't have the money to do so. If they can't even pay back the interest, how are they going to pay back the loans? So Evergrande's stock is down more than 80%. Fitch and Moody's, they've downgraded Evergrande's credit ratings, and employees and investors, they're protesting at their headquarters. The biggest fear is that the Evergrande problem is going to have a ripple effect and spill over into other countries. In America, the stock market fell sharply because of Evergrande, with the Dow Jones falling more than 900 points during midday Monday. And Bitcoin fell by 10% yesterday and is down 20% in the past 2 weeks. So people are waiting to see if the financial turmoil spreads throughout the rest of China into other countries and whether the Chinese government is going to bail out Evergrande. In current events, the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, traveled to Del Rio, Texas to observe the border crisis. Del Rio is where more than 10,000 illegal immigrants set up camp on US soil. The situation is just getting worse and more people are crossing over. It's gotten so bad that Border Patrol had to build a wall made up of vehicles at the river to stop more people from crossing over illegally. And now, US Border Patrol is going around on horseback whipping the Haitians. It's not just one incident, there are multiple videos of horseback whip. Border Patrol says they are not whipping the Haitians with whips. Border Patrol says that they're whipping the Haitians with horse reins. Mayorkas said, "We are certainly experiencing a challenging situation, but we are sending resources." Mayorkas says that he's working with the Red Cross and World Central Kitchen to bring the illegal immigrants food and supplies. And I want to end with these interesting statistics. A lot of people decided to start their own business. Many people feel that they can't rely on their employer for job security. It's too risky to rely on the government in times of trouble, so they want to try self-employment. The US Census Bureau shows new businesses being formed increased from 234,000 a month to 558,000 a month in 2020. We're currently at 427,000. If you're thinking about starting your own business, I made a video on how to start a business for free and how to cut out the middlemen fees like attorneys and accountants. I thank you for your support and I wish you a very nice day.